Did the Celtics just let their final championship window slip away? While Boston watches from the sidelines, Memphis just made a move that could send shockwaves through the Eastern Conference playoff race, and no one seems to be sounding the alarm. Jock Landale is heading to the Grizzlies, and while on paper that name might not raise many eyebrows, this signing represents something far more significant, a missed opportunity that quietly exposes a dangerous blind spot in the Celtics' off-season approach. Let's get one thing straight. Boston didn't just miss out on a depth piece. They lost a player tailor-made to solve a problem they keep pretending doesn't exist. Landale was more than just a bench big. He was a low-cost, high-motor athlete who could run the floor, stretch the defense, and bring a level of physicality that Boston sorely lacked behind Horford and the now-departed Kristaps Porzingis, and yet he's gone, snatched up by Memphis, while Boston continues to roll the dice on upside projects and two-way contracts as if they've got time to waste. Some will point to Landale's modest stats, 4.8 points and 3.3 rebounds per game, and shrug, but dig deeper. He shot over 42% from deep last season, plays with relentless energy, and fits exactly into Joe Mazzulla's preferred pace and space style. Are we really going to act like that doesn't matter? Meanwhile, Boston's center rotation is beginning to look more like a G League tryout than the roster of a team that just won a title. Neemias Queta, Luka Garza, Amari Williams, there's upside, sure, but when the postseason hits and you need someone who's been in the fire, do you trust any of them to survive a 7-game war with Bam Adebayo, Joel Embiid, or even Nick Claxton? The truth is, Boston is treating its front court like a luxury when it should be a necessity. Landale isn't the only name they let slip through their fingers. Jay Huff, another stretch 5 with shot-blocking ability, was also quietly moved. This time to the Pacers, Boston had every chance to make a move. Instead, they watched as yet another affordable, playable big man vanished from the market. And we haven't even mentioned the most alarming development, the looming departure of Al Horford. Let that sink in. Kristaps Porzingis has already been traded. Luke Kornet is in San Antonio. Al Horford, the heart and soul of Boston's interior defense, might not return. That leaves the Celtics with a rotation of hopefuls and rookies to defend the paint during what could be their final prime window with Tatum and Brown. What no one is saying out loud is this: Boston is treating its title defense like a rebuild, and maybe that's the most shocking part. Instead of doubling down on proven talent, they're hoarding flexibility. They're avoiding the second apron, staying under the luxury tax, and banking on long-term sustainability as if titles grow on trees. But here's the harsh reality: championship windows don't stay open forever, and when they slam shut, they don't make a sound until it's delayed. Jason Tatum is entering his physical peak. Jaylen Brown is coming off a Finals MVP. This is not the moment to cut corners. This is the time to reinforce the core, not gamble on developmental projects that might be ready in 2 or 3 years. Is the Celtics' next starting center hiding in plain sight, wearing a Grizzlies jersey? What if the Boston Celtics' biggest need isn't locked behind a blockbuster trade or buried in a luxury tax spreadsheet? What if the answer to their most glaring roster flaw is about to walk into Summer League wearing the wrong jersey? That's right. Will Magnay, the 27-year-old, bruising Australian center, might be the solution Boston desperately needs. And they're not the ones giving him a shot. Magnay isn't just another fringe player trying to squeeze out a contract. He's a 6'10", 250-pound screen-setting wrecking ball with a defensive presence that's impossible to ignore. His season with the Tasmania Jackjumpers in the NBL was nothing short of dominant: 13.8 points, 7.1 boards, nearly 2 assists, 1.6 blocks, and an eye-popping 63.3% from the field, all in under 26 minutes a night. That's not just production, that's impact. The kind Boston just lost in Luke Kornet and may never get back from an aging Al Horford. And here's the kicker: Magnay is suiting up for the Memphis Grizzlies in Summer League. Not Boston, not the team whose front court just fell off a cliff. The same Boston that's now pretending Luka Garza, Neemias Queta, and Amari Williams can somehow form a playoff-caliber rotation. At the 5, spoiler alert, they can't. Not alone. So why isn't Brad Stevens pouncing on Magnay? That's the million-dollar question, especially when you realize that Boston's center strategy has devolved into a high-stakes experiment built entirely on hope. Garza is skilled but slow. Queta has bounce but zero discipline. Tillman is gritty but undersized. And Williams, talented, sure, but rawer than sushi. Because if he plays well in Vegas, it'll be too late. The Celtics are gambling with their championship window. Instead of locking in reliable role players who can soak up real playoff minutes, they're clinging to financial flexibility and theoretical upside. And sure, maybe that's the smart cap space move, but is it the smart basketball move? There's a dangerous arrogance brewing in Boston's front office, a belief that the system is strong enough, that Tatum and Brown are good enough to make up for structural weaknesses. But that's how dynasties crumble, not through massive collapse, but by ignoring the small leaks until the foundation caves in. And here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody in Boston wants to say out loud. Well, Magne might already be better than any backup center currently on the Celtics roster. That not more talented, necessarily, not more promising, but more ready, more useful, more plug-and-play in the moments that actually matter. If you're thinking this is an exaggeration, ask yourself, what's the downside in signing a guy like Magne to a camp deal? There is none, but the upside. Quietly massive. Just months after hoisting the Larry O'Brien Trophy, the Boston Celtics have taken a stunning freefall, not just in the eyes of analysts, but in the brutal reality of the NBA power rankings. In a shocking update from CBS Sports, Boston didn't just drop out of the top 5, they crashed 10 full spots, plummeting from no 3 to no 13. Let that sink in. The reigning champions now sit closer to mediocrity than contention, and the reason? A string of roster moves that, when looked at from the surface, seem like nothing short of a controlled demolition. Gone are Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, and Luke Cornet, all essential pieces of the Celtics championship core, on the verge of departure. Al Horford, the vocal leader and backbone of the locker room. In their place, Anthony Simons, Georges Niang, and Luka Garza. Names that would sound more fitting on a fringe playing team than a defending champion. But what's more alarming than the names is the strategy behind them. Boston didn't make these moves to chase another title. They did it to chase the books. And here's the twist that should send chills down any fan's spine. It wasn't just financial prudence. It was surrender. The Celtics front office is openly embracing a gap year, an unspoken white flag waved while Jason Tatum recovers from a rumored Achilles surgery, one they've barely acknowledged publicly. So the most pressing question becomes, are the Celtics throwing away a dynasty window to protect their cap sheet? It sounds like heresy, but look at the evidence. Instead of reinforcing the core that delivered Banner 18, Boston dismantled it. Instead of leveraging their title momentum into another all-in push, they hit the brakes, hard, and the logic, long-term. Flexibility, but flexibility doesn't win rings. Stars do, depth does, battle-tested experience does. CBS Sports analyst Colin Ward-Henninger didn't pull punches. This was a gutting, he wrote, pointing directly at the departures of Holiday, Porzingis, and Cornet as seismic shifts. He's right. Boston didn't just lose players, they lost identity. Holiday was the defensive brain. Porzingis was the matchup nightmare. Cornet, often overlooked, provided stability and chemistry in second units. Without them, the Celtics now rely on unproven youth and one-dimensional specialists. Anthony Simons, a gifted scorer, yes, but not a proven playoff contributor. Georges Niang, a shooter who gets hunted defensively in the postseason. Luka Garza, a G-League standout, but slow-footed and a defensive liability at the NBA level. So again, what exactly is the plan here? Are the Celtics really willing to watch Jaylen Brown, fresh off a Finals MVP and finally reaching his apex, carry a stripped-down roster into the fire while they wait on Tatum's full recovery? Because here's the dark truth no one in Boston is saying out loud. There's no guarantee Tatum comes back the same. Achilles injuries don't care about max contracts. They don't care about projections or timelines. They end careers, and even when they don't, they alter them forever. If this really is the injury he's recovering from, then this gap year isn't a smart pivot. It's Russian roulette with the franchise's future.